In 1989, the United States initiated a military intervention in Panama to apprehend Manuel Noriega. Noriega, once an ally of the U.S. due to his staunch anti-communism stance, saw his relationship deteriorate rapidly when he became involved in narcotics activities. His arrest on January 3, 1990, led to his extradition to the U.S., where he faced charges of money laundering, narcotics trafficking, and racketeering. This incident illustrates how the United States swiftly took action against a former ally who had crossed a red line of unacceptable behavior. A few years later, in 1993, a similar case emerged with Bola Tinubu, who was tried in absentia in Chicago and forfeited $460,000 in narcotics proceeds through a civil forfeiture proceeding. This investigation involved the U.S. DEA, mirroring the situation with Manuel Noriega. Tinubu's house address had also been flagged by U.S. Customs as a point of interest related to narcotics packages from Africa. In 1992, prior to Tinubu's trial, he contested and won a senatorial seat in Lagos during the Third Republic. However, the Third Republic was short-lived due to the annulment of MKO Abiola's presidential election victory by the IBB regime. Fast forward to 2022, as Nigeria prepared for presidential primaries, heightened interest arose in scrutinizing the backgrounds of major candidates. The presidency carries immense power, making it crucial to entrust this position to individuals with a solid and reputable character. The Nigerian constitution explicitly prohibits individuals with criminal records or questionable character from holding the presidency or governorship. Past mistakes, such as the election of an ex-convict as the governor of Delta State, underscore the importance of prioritizing political leaders' integrity. Addressing the potential corruption stemming from Tinubu's involvement in the hypothetical invasion of Niger Republic, it's important to recognize that war incurs significant costs. Historical interventions like Nigeria's participation in eco-moji operations during the 1990s often involved substantial financial allocations that were inadequately accounted for. Such situations provided opportunities for funds to be misappropriated and laundered abroad, thereby hindering Nigeria and Africa's development progress. To break this cycle, a proactive approach to infrastructure development is proposed, involving simultaneous construction of multiple projects within a defined time frame. This strategy, backed by loans and proper maintenance planning, could transform the urban landscape, improve public health, and contribute to genuine economic development. Ultimately, the focus must remain on electing leaders of high moral standing and commitment to the nation's progress, thereby avoiding the pitfalls of the past and paving the way for a brighter future. Amid the scrutiny of presidential candidates' backgrounds during the Nigerian presidential election, investigative journalist David Hundeyin was a pivotal figure, making the initial breakthrough. He unearthed a significant detail that challenged Bola Tinubu's educational claims. Hundeyin revealed that the individual registered at Chicago State University, where Tinubu asserted he had attended, was in fact female. Hundeyin's notable contributions as a whistleblower shed light on crucial aspects of the Nigerian political landscape, particularly Tinubu's misleading assertions, including his dual nationality as revealed by a Guinean passport. The involvement of the United States in this narrative raises questions, particularly in relation to Manuel Noriega's case. The U.S. plays a significant role due to its active obstruction of further revealing information about Tinubu. Progressing through an investigation often unearths new complexities, necessitating answers to continue. In this context, David Hundeyin and associates petitioned the FBI for comprehensive disclosure of information regarding Tinubu. However, their requests were met with resistance, ultimately resulting in a legal battle to compel the release of these materials, now delayed until 2026. Surprisingly, U.S. President Joe Biden has maintained silence on the Tinubu case, a departure from his own words highlighting the concept of silence is complicity. This silence implies a level of complicity and protection of Tinubu, which contrasts starkly with the transparency expected in U.S. politics. One can speculate that if someone with Tinubu's questionable past were to contest the U.S. presidency, the FBI would not shield information, and legal avenues would remain open to opponents seeking critical details. Had the U.S. released damaging information in a timely manner, It could have altered the course of events. Tinubu's viability as a presidential candidate might have been compromised, potentially influencing his party's stance and reshaping the electoral landscape. As the owner of a company responsible for collecting taxes for Lagos State, Tinubu has amassed significant wealth, enabling extravagant purchases for his family. This financial leverage, coupled with knowledge of potential past wrongdoings, could explain the U.S.'s handling of his case, employing it as a tool to exert influence. The nuanced interaction between the U.S. and Tinubu becomes evident through actions such as U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris's call to Tinubu following the Niger coup. This demonstrates a complex power dynamic, potentially used to manipulate Tinubu's behavior for strategic gains. Furthermore, Tinubu's bellicose stance toward Niger, despite lacking any territorial threat, raises questions about motivations and external influences, especially given Niger's cooperation in combating cross-border insurgency. In light of these intricacies, it's clear that the U.S.'s treatment of Tinubu diverges significantly from historical precedents, suggesting a calculated approach to maintain influence and control, both in Nigerian politics and broader regional dynamics. On what grounds would Nigeria seek to rationalize an invasion of Niger, given that there's no imminent threat to our territory from them? This is a clear point that resonates across Nigeria, even within the Nigerian Senate, which rejected a call for military intervention in Niger. This situation raises questions about why the United States supports such individuals in positions of power, essentially pawns they can manipulate. These figures are easily enlisted for proxy conflicts, acting obediently and unquestioningly at the behest of external powers. Unfortunately, their actions rarely yield positive outcomes for their countries. They merely comply like automatons, devoid of genuine consideration for their people or the nations they impact. A notable example is Bagudu, who was deeply involved in laundering millions, if not billions of dollars for Abacha in the 90s. Presently facing a forfeiture proceeding in the U.S. worth over $200 million, he was astonishingly appointed as a minister. The ramifications of such appointments for Nigeria are nothing short of alarming. Recent actions, like the dismissal of all CBN directors ostensibly for an investigation, are mere facades. This maneuver aims to install individuals loyal to the leader, individuals unlikely to challenge his requests or decisions. The United States, France, the UK, and other Western nations demonstrate a self-serving agenda with regards to Africa. Their interests hinge on whether African leaders align with their own objectives, whether these leaders are malleable and compliant. A stark example lies in Angola, where the leader's extended tenure remains unopposed due to alignment with Western interests. However, when a military coup transpires, international uproar and condemnation ensue, showcasing a double standard. While not advocating for military coups, it is an undeniable reality. In Nigeria and many African countries, those involved in unsuccessful coups often face the death penalty. The distinction between an unsuccessful and successful coup lies in a delicate balance. A successful coup transforms into a revolution, where the constitution is discarded and governance operates by decree rather than law. Subsequently, these decrees are ratified and integrated into the legal system once power is relinquished. Nigeria's history reflects this trend, where military promulgated decrees have been subsequently absorbed into acts of parliament. Even the present constitution was presented by the military to Nigerians. A coup becomes deemed illegal when it doesn't succeed. The implications of historical military involvement aren't retroactively addressed. In conclusion, the Western world's focus on Africa centers predominantly on self-interest rather than the continent's development. The contrasting coverage of the military coup in Niger by Western media, compared to the scrutiny placed on Nigerian elections, underscores this reality. The Western press is particularly fixated on the Niger coup due to its potential to disrupt their strategic interests and military bases. Returning to Nigeria, it is reasonable to anticipate that the baggage associated with certain individuals could lead the presidential election petition court to disqualify them, thereby concluding the presidential election process. This step would be vital in moving the nation forward.